Coming to you live from Norway, it's the 10 Point Podcast. On October 28th, 2021, the 10 Point Podcast receives an anonymous package with 2 hard disks containing 283 minutes of recorded audio and filmed material. This is a rough cut version of that material. Everything is in chronological order, one take, as live. No images have been manipulated. At all. A team of investigators spent more than 3 days trying to establish whether this was a practical joke or if the material was authentic. They concluded that it was indeed authentic. My name is Bruce, and nobody here believes in God or Jesus. So with me out in the middle of nowhere this week, if we run into some inbred pig farmers, his ass is first. It's Chris.
Havorden Gardet.
Ah, good job.
That in Norwegian, Chris.
And secondly, it's a tosser lad. It's Andy.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Norwegian man. We are the 10 Point Podcast. You can hear us wherever you get your podcasts and all that sort of stuff. Every single podcast app, everywhere. And you can get us on YouTube, where more often than not you can get a video version of the podcast where you can see us in our Norwegian setting this week. You can find us on social media channels, Facebook and on Twitter. The 10 Point Podcast for both of those. That's all letters, not any numbers. Get in touch with us on either of those, and also on YouTube as well if you wish. I want to hear what you think and what you want to hear from the podcast. All your 10 Point Podcast needs at 10pointpodcast.com, where you can join our cult and donate over there. My computer.
Less foreign films.
Less foreign films.
One and done.
One rule I had.
One rule. Rule number 1 of the podcast, which was, I don't think it was that. Where am I now? 10 Point Podcast. What have we watched in the last week before we get on to the podcast this week? Chris, I don't know what you have watched. Me and Andy have briefly briefed each other. So, Chris, what have you watched in the last week?
Well, I tried to watch the original Dune film because I'd never seen them before I watched the new one, and fuck me, that old one is shit. I apologise, I've broken the swearing rule already, but I was watching it, and then they kept whispering inside their own head, like an inner monologue, and it just really annoyed me. Because it was like, I don't normally like people from this place, but I think I like him. And I was like, who cares? Just do something.
I've never seen the first one, like, ever. Like, it's just
It's long.
Long and boring so far.
David
We'll
Lynch
have
is
give it another
it's a
attempt.
hard watch sometimes, David Lynch. So I never quite got into Twin Peaks, so I don't know if I've given it a fair chance. But yeah, I've never seen the first one, so I cannot discuss. But so has it given you more of an incentive to watch the new one, or are you kind of
Yeah, because I think it's probably done better, and there's going to be more action than not. Apart from that, I also finished the Hobbit trilogy, so I'll be starting Lord of the Rings soon. And so far, my current order is An Unexpected Adventure, The Battle of 5 Armies, and then Desolation of Smaug, because nothing much happens in that until the last
so is
half
that
hour.
the best is the first one of the Hobbit?
Yeah, 1, 3,
the last
2
one.
so far.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. I always remember the Hobbit, the third one, being really exciting, but the whole time thinking this didn't happen in the Hobbit.
Yeah,
why
none of it happens apart from like the battle, I think.
Yeah.
I think nobody that's in the battle is actually there in the book. So
I just vividly remember that. I remember falling asleep middle of the second one, but I think we watched it on New Year's Day, and it was not a good decision. In the last week, I have been a very busy boy. For Halloween, I watched Shaun of the Dead. It's been a few years since I watched it, and I still love it. And I was trying to work out, I think Shaun of the Dead is probably when I first started really appreciating zombies. Now, I'd seen 28 Days Later, which had come out a few years beforehand, but then when Shaun of the Dead came out, and I really liked it, and I was like, I love this film, but I don't get any of the zombie film references. And I think I then branched out, got into like zombie films and all that, and then since then, zombies are a staple of every single video game that ever comes out. So like full-on zombies. So that was my Halloween watching after watching Halloween the week before. But I've been at the cinema a bunch this week because we had a longer weekend between recordings. So I saw well, yes, I saw The French Dispatch, the new Wes Anderson film, which it sounds silly, but he's made it like this intentionally. But it literally is a film that feels like a magazine, which it sounds bizarre until you see it, but it's actually framed like it is a magazine. The film has articles and different stories and all that sort of stuff, but it's essentially split up into 3 main parts. The first one is really good. The second one is some sort of weird Timothy Chalamet, Francis McDormand fan fiction story in the middle. It's not my sort of thing at all. And then the last story is very up and down. But it's also got the main character of the third story is Jeffrey Wright, who is in absolutely everything at the moment. I cannot escape Jeffrey Wright. He's in What If? He's in James Bond. He was in something else I watched recently. I've never but I think there's at least 4 things in the last month I've watched that had Jeffrey Wright in it. But I'd give it it's a very strong thumbs middle for the French Dispatch. Yeah.
Is it in English?
It's in English. Actually, it's not 100% in English. There's actually quite a lot of it in French. No, I think about it. So yeah, I would ignore it, Andy. The first story might actually appeal to you. It's quite good.
I'm a 70-30 type of guy.
70-30. It's probably definitely that balance, 70-30, I would say.
Okay,
So
it might sneak into my being okay and being allowed to
yes.
be categorised as a film.
And then this may have hampered my June experience a little bit, but I thought, what's a good idea? I've got a date for me and Jane to ourselves. Let's do a double header at the cinema of The Last Duel and then watch June afterwards, which is a combined 5 hours of film, not including trailers and adverts and all that stuff consecutively. We had literally a 25-minute gap in between the films. So I saw The Last Duel, the new Ridley Scott film that was written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, the first thing they've written together since way back in Good Will Hunting. And I kind of intentionally didn't want to know anything about it. I heard medieval, Ridley Scott, Affleck, Damon, Adam Driver, and then Jodie Comer, who was in Free Guy, Andy's favourite film of all time, recently. I thought, right, I don't want to know about it. I just want to go see it. It's medieval Me Too, is what it is. As in, not graphically, but quite strongly and on screen, Jodie Comer gets raped by Adam Driver, and the whole film centres around that. And I'm like, this film is not as enjoyable a watch as I thought it was going to be. I'm not having as much fun. But it's another one that's chopped up. You see the entire events of the film. Like the film, it's one of these ones starts with the duel, and then it's like, we'll go back in time to see what led us to here. The thing that just now makes me eye roll every time it happens. So, beginning bit, here's the duel, but then it's Matt Damon's version of what happens, and then you get Adam Driver's version. It literally goes back to the beginning, shows you Adam Driver, and then it shows her, Jodie Comer's version of events. Then there's a court case, and then the duel, which you always know is coming. So it's quite well made and crafted like that. But it gets pretty graphic towards, it isn't graphic, but yeah, it's on screen. She's getting raped, therefore it takes a whole lot of fun out of the film, and I didn't enjoy it so much in the end. But don't rush out to go see it. I think apparently nobody has. It's made no money at all, despite the fact it's got 3 of the biggest movie stars ever. Ben Affleck's actually the best bit. He's the middle story bit, the middle chunk is a lot of Ben Affleck, and he's the only guy having any fun. Everybody else is, it's medieval, it's miserable, it's horrible, but Ben Affleck is like this kind of Duke guy having a hell of a lot of fun.
It's not like dyed his hair blonde or something.
Yeah,
for this.
He's got a blonde kind of, I don't know, old-timey haircut, but also like a goatee without the moustache. I forget what you call it. Bleached blonde as well. And it's a weird look. But yeah, he just has a whale of a time while everybody else is crying, being murdered, fighting, and worse. So it's, again, another strong thumbs middle, but yeah, beware. It's not a fun film to go watch. But I also saw June straight afterwards, which definitely meant in the second half of June, when it's literally 2 people walking across the desert for 45 minutes, I was getting pretty sick of being in the cinema at that point. I don't know how you feel, Andy, but the first half of the new June film is really good.
That's pretty good. Like,
yeah.
my thing is, like, it's kind of like Blade Runner. It's very artsy, and it looks stunning. But fuck all happens. And I actually read a review where there is actually 50 minutes of screen time of just faces.
Right.
So there's a lot of just faces.
You get spectacular shots of where they are.
Yep.
Then, like you say, faces. And then spectacular shot of where someone else is, and then faces and all that. Yeah, it's
you can not hear the inner monologues like you can in the original film.
Yep. You get see bits of it. You get bits of it.
Yeah.
But basically, if you've seen the first film, you've seen this film, Chris, because it's exactly the same.
Although I will say for the first film, it's got Patrick Stewart in it, who's awesome. But then they have this duel with some random weird block shield thing, and it's horrific. It's just like squares attacking each other.
Well,
so I don't know whether
you're in
it's
for
something like that.
the right of the new one. Because I thought everybody was good in it. It was a pretty good film. But you know you're in the problem when it starts and it just goes June, part 1.
Yeah, part 1. Yeah.
And it's like,
Nothing in
keeping all that under wraps. But yeah,
nothing on posters ever says part 1. Although I had been spoiled that it was going to be part 1. But yeah, you get in the cinema, literally June part 1. That's the first time.
I just imagine you sitting there going, oh, "Fuck."
Well, because I knew exactly where it was going to end. It literally ends with the miniseries, the 2 miniseries end, and the original film, and pretty much the first Dune game on PlayStation as well. It gets right up to that point where it's like, ooh, some shit. Oh, wait, there. It's the next film.
Another thing. If anyone happens to be listening to this podcast and hasn't seen Dune yet, but it's somehow the crossover, a massive Zendaya fan, whatever you want to call it, she's not in the film. So, like, she's on screen for maybe a combined, 15 minutes? But
I think it's less. I reckon it's 5.
Yeah, but 10 minutes of is like clips of her in visions, as in Timothée Chalamet imagines and dreams about her, but she doesn't do anything. And then she gets one scene at the end of the film, and this big superstar with 1 million billion Instagram followers, she's in our film, come and see it. So
I'll tell you what, right at the very end though, Bruce, there's a pornographic scene though with that guy.
What's that?
It's hard to say. There's just a random guy in the distance, and you're like, next film.
Ah, right, yes. I get where you're going.
That's pornographic right there.
I think I judged it for. It's not really a spoiler. There's a point where Timothée Chalamet pops his head out of sand, and there's a little mouse with big ears there. That is when my enjoyment of the film kind of peaked. As in, to that point, I'm like, this is the new Star Wars. This is going to be amazing. They're going to make 20 of these films. They're going to be great. Everyone's going to be a superstar. These character names are going to be like popular culture forever. And then he pops in, and then from that point, essentially what happens in the second half of the film is good guys escape into the desert, find help. Then the bad guys find them. They escape into the desert and find help. And it's just like that's literally the second. Like this, it loops at one point. As in, they could have cut out the middle of it. And actually, on the same subject of Ben Affleck in The Last Duel, Jason Momoa is the only person having fun in Dune as well.
Everyone else
loving life. He looks good without his beard.
He does.
Playing Jason Momoa again, though.
Yes, it's Aquaman, but he's in the desert instead of the water. Yeah.
No disrespect to the name Duncan, but when did Duncan become like a super sci-fi name?
I let the stifle actually laughing out loud when he said his name was Duncan in this film as well. I was like, bloody hell.
He's called that in the first one, and he goes, like, my name's Paul. Hi, Duncan. I was like, why is Duncan such a sci-fi name all of a sudden?
Yeah, there's gonna be loads of kids called Duncan coming out soon. But yeah, June, I would give a thumbs up. I would say go watch it. I feel like it's a cultural event. This one, I think it's like this is a big film. People are going to talk about. I don't know if it's going to be Oscars stuff. I don't know if it's that sort of film, but MTV Movie Awards, if they're whenever they exist, this would be
a banging soundtrack that you keep playing over and over again now.
You can tell. But yeah, June would give a thumb up. I think that's it. That's a lot of what we've watched in the last week. I had a busy week, so I think we've covered.
And we've planned this whole section out because we're about to rattle through the next bit.
Quite a bit of discussion for the point of the podcast this week. Point number 1: the 2010 found footage drama, fantasy, horror, sci-fi thriller Trollhunter, which translates as Trollhunter. Which this has annoyed me. Try to find the bloody thing because I thought it was on Netflix. It wasn't. So me and Chris had to subscribe to Shudder to get the damn thing. I don't know if it's Trollhunter or Trollhunter because it's translated. But on every single list, app, internet website, it's one or the other. I can't find what it's actually called.
And this is exactly why nobody's going to listen to this episode because what the fuck do I put it up as?
Troll. Just put one.
That's why I decided to watch the animated film Trolls. Then Trolls 2, and then I watched The Trollhunters, which is a new film on Netflix. That's all animated.
Every time I typed in Trollhunter as one word, that film kept coming up, but I don't want to watch this one. So you've had a troll week, Candy, have you?
I've been all about the trolls except from this film.
So you haven't watched any of this at all?
Well, I bought the DVD once, and it annoyed me.
You bought it?
Yeah, I bought it and it annoyed me because I put it in and it was all in Gibberese. So, and then you said it was dubbed on Amazon, and then I had to pay £5.50 to watch it in dub. So I decided, fuck that shit. I'll watch the Trolls movie instead.
I swear, like last time I seen it was on Netflix and it was dubbed in English.
That's where recently I saw it.
And like another thing, we had a rule, Chris. There was not to be any foreign films.
I forgot the rules because I spend most of my time drunk.
You make your own rules, and it annoyed me.
I play by my
This
own rules.
This podcast might get us cancelled because I've got some shit in play here.
Oh God, right. Well, we better get on. I think we're already wasting even more time here. Yes, Trollhunter, whichever's got a space or not and a capital H, brought to us by. There's going to be a lot of this, by the way. Film Cameratin, Film Fondant Fuzz, and S04. Shockingly, they've never done any film I've done before, and they've not done anything else that I'm even aware of outside of this film. Written and directed by Andrei Ovredal.
This is the reason why I picked this, because this is one of my original ideas. It's the closest I could get to Andrew. It was Andre.
Okay. For God's sake. Famous for Trollhunter, and he went on to, he wrote and directed both, I should say. He wrote both wrote and directed. He then made The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and then Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I'm at least aware of because I recognise the poster for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So he does have other films other than this. The film stars as Hans the Trollhunter, Otto Jespersen, who's actually a popular Norwegian comedian. And he's not the only one in the film. Apparently, there are, I think, 4 famous Norwegian comedians play roles in this film. So I suppose if, I don't know, a pretty famous comedian is the kind of the central figure of a film, it changes the tone slightly for Norwegians. Yeah. And then we've got as Thomas, Glenn Erland Tosserud, and Joanna is played by Joanna Mork. So I don't know if they just gave her own name when she was cast, but yeah, again, they are not in anything else. And Otto Jespersen is just a comedian rather than being in anything else either. The film I have translated, I have converted on the internet, was made for $2.5 million. Its opening weekend in Norway, it took $700,000, and its final Norwegian gross was $3.9 million, so it made a profit. Worldwide, it reached $5.3 million worldwide, but then it was distributed on Netflix all across the world. It was nothing like Squid Game, but I think it got a lot of viewership on streaming services in the kind of the 2010s, as it were.
And people accidentally bought this because it had a really cool cover in HMV.
The very scammed. The very cool cover is definitely coming up at some point on the podcast because I have some issues to take with the very cool cover. Trollhunter released 29th of October 2010 in 2 countries, Norway and Brazil. It released on the same day for some reason in Norway and Brazil. And then it was released and premiered at film festivals until August 2012. So nearly 2 years later, it was still coming out in cinemas and premiering at film festivals as it went. But yeah, Brazil, they were right in there. They loved this film, apparently. The film won 12 awards in the essentially 2-year history of it being in award ceremonies. 6 of them were either for being best foreign film or like a public choice. Sort of, we like this film, but it's not winning the best picture ones. 6 of those, 1 for being best feature, 2 for the director, 1 for production, 1 for visual effects, and 1 for sound effects. So a spread of its 12 wins across the board. And it was nominated for best international film at the 2012 Saturn Awards, keeping our Saturn...
I was just going to ask if the Saturn Awards came up.
It's a streak that will never die is Saturn Awards. It lost to The Skin I Live In, which is an Antonio Banderas film, which I think
that's a creepy thing.
Yeah, the poster has a woman with like a kind of mask on, kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a face mask on. But it did not win at the Saturn Awards, but it was nominated. Trollhunter, synopsis by, it's not Nick, but it's definitely our second most common contributor, Claudio from Rio de Janeiro has written a synopsis. It's not very long, but as normal, I have not read it. When bears are found dead in Norway, students from Volda University, Thomas, Joanna, and cameraman Kalle, decide to investigate. They stalk the trail of the mysterious hunter Hans, expecting to find an explanation for the killings. The reluctant Hans tries to flee from the youngsters, but then agrees to let them film him in action, provided they follow his orders. Soon the trio of students learns that Hans is actually a troll hunter working for a secret government agency. Further, several dangerous trolls have escaped from their territory, and Hans is assigned to eliminate them. And that's as much of a synopsis that we have here.
What's not to like?
What's not to like? It was picked by Chris, so why don't you tell us why you picked it? And if you're more...
This is a film that I saw a few years ago, and like I've previously said, like I did see it in English, and I thought, do you know what? I'll ride the Squid Game coattails here, because I thought I forgot about Andrew's one rule. So, and it does fit into my little theme that I've got going.
I had, in fact, seen it before, as I mentioned. I saw it on Netflix. I don't know if normally what channel would we have seen it on. I think literally this would be a Netflix film. Normally, you wouldn't have seen this.
I think this could be a film for like 2 o'clock in the morning job.
Not too bad. Not too bad an idea. But the reason I watched it was the poster. As in, I think it was 1 year I was looking for. Andy knows I love a monster movie every so often. I love to watch a monster movie, and he'd recommended a couple. And I saw the poster, and I'm like, oh my god, this looks really good. Found out straight away, oh, it's Norwegian dubbed, because we watched the dub version. And I was like, fine, we'll play with it. And for me, I'll mention it now rather than later on. The poster that attracted me to the film essentially spoils the film. Because, well, obviously the film's called Trollhunter, so he's going to be looking for trolls. So therefore, the first 10 minutes you know what he's doing. But the whole time, I'm waiting for this like 200-foot troll out in the middle of the wilderness to be the main bit of the film. And it doesn't come till the last 10 minutes of the film. So therefore, I know that's coming the entire time this film is happening. So it kind of spoiled my experience, because I thought that would be I found this massive troll, now what's going to happen? It's like, no, that's just the payoff is, there is a massive troll at the end. So yeah, the poster is what attracted me to it, and that's what spoiled it, spoiled that part of it for me. And Andy, we know you've seen it before. Any further comment at this time?
Oh, I saw 10 minutes of it.
He saw the beginning of it.
Trolljeger en stor haug med dritt.
I would probably agree if my Norwegian was a hint better. On to point 2 then, which is our high points, what we thought the best and worst bits of the podcast were. Chris, you selected it, so why don't you start us off on some high points?
Well, there's not a lot happening at the start, so I'm going to jump to the names for the trolls. There's a lot of innuendos there, like Tosser Lad and Ringfinch and Rintosser.
I can't work out if that's what he was actually saying in the film, or whether that was translated or not.
Yeah.
I think Ringfinch sounds very like English, like as in the English language. It sounds like an English thing to say, so I don't know if it would be in Norwegian. But yes, I did giggle, especially Tosser Lad, which give it to Andy as his introduction earlier on. I struggled with early high points too. I said I think I gave up, and my first high point I got written down is Norway. Like I must just thought, because the spectacular scenery is really good, and they seem to move around a lot, but they don't go long distances, because obviously he's got a caravan and a bloody 4x4, and it seems to be top of a hill, down low, top of a hill, down low. Here's a nice bit of lake over this hill, and there's a nice big barren wasteland and all that. So it's a good advert for the country.
Yeah, for Norway.
Yeah,
I'd love to go visit there now just because of that. And I find bits in the film.
Yeah,
one where little bits of what's it called, acetate or something like that. Just look at rocks.
Yeah.
My next high point is the Polish boys. Like, they bring a bit of humour to an otherwise like quite deadpan film. It's like straight.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of humour in it.
Filmen for lang. Hvorfor det 1 time og 40 minutter? Det så mye å lengte etter denne typen film.
Yeah.
About 50 minutes or something like that.
40 minutes, definitely 40 minutes at the beginning of the film, I would have said. I can't argue, Andy. I did like the Polish boys, though. I think that was one of my favourite bit in the whole film. Not only because it was in English. So I don't know if that was your best, Andy, but there was that scene that was in English. And he's one of the guys that's a comedian, the main Polish guy that's talking.
You can tell he was like quite confident. He's like, my bad back.
But now think about it. So were they supposed to have come from Poland? But I don't know, is there bears in Poland? Or because
Jeg uenig.
Okay, right. I see. Because if they have, that bear would not be in a good state if it come all the way from Poland to Norway, because it's got to be a long way around, or you're taking a ferry at some point. So it's not the best. My next high point I've got is just the premise of Hans letting them follow him around and film him just because he's pissed off. It's like, I hate working for them, I don't get days off, all this sort of stuff, just complaining. So, you come and expose the whole thing because I'm sick of working for them. But yeah, the way he is working on his own. Like, he's like, I am the one troll hunter in all of Norway, dealing with all these massive, even his boss guy. You think he'd maybe pull some of the work.
Like that scene, you know, like at the bridge where he gets like knocked out. If he's there by himself, he's there getting eaten by a troll.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe not. I guess that's what his suit's for. But yeah, you can tell. Like, he must have had a close shave before. He knows he needs to wear that suit.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how many times he's woken up, like having washed down the river or something like that. Like, I have no idea what's just happened to me. Working on his own.
Hallo. EM. Chris har sankthankende føtter.
I have something what?
EM. Jeg vil omstøpe alt.
Ah, okay. I wish I had something that could translate this. That would be. Yeah. Can you put subtitles on, Andy, so we can see what you think?
Hallo.
I get that one. Hello. Continuing on with Hans, who at this point is very much, he attracts my attention every time he's on screen. Does Hans? Yep. Probably the best scene that doesn't involve CGI is him having his breakfast and pretty much explaining everything. It's, for the most part, it's just a camera on him talking to cameras that are just on faces, just essentially exposing the whole business and just talking about really preposterous things, but making it seem like it's real. Like he would actually, oh yeah, the trolls aren't like that.
Hvorfor tror alle plutselig at troll ekte? Det virker som et litt stort sprang fra bjørn. Jeg vet at vi kan dekke oss selv I trollsnør.
Yeah, trolls.
Yeah, I'm just like explain everything. He's had enough, like you said, and that's it. The beans have been spilled.
And he was eating them after he spilled them as well.
Oh, what was that big beef thing right in the middle, like Norwegian sausage? I don't know.
Could have been.
Jeg uenig.
It was Ernie. Right, Ernie.
Yeah, like there's not like a lot of high points. Like, I'm gonna skip to the end because I don't know, Andy's annoying me. Like that entire portion with the Jotter troll.
Shit, faen, forbanna.
I think there was a shit in there. I don't know.
Something a bit shit film.
Fite, tvatt, shit, faen, forbanna.
He was looking to see himself. Anyway, like that scene of the tiny wee van going between like the big feet, it reminded me of the Lost World scene with the Brachiosaurus.
Ah, right, yeah.
It reminds me of that.
It was a bad idea.
Jeg uenig.
Like, Ernie seems to be getting a lot of coverage here. I need to get in front of this troll. I will drive right underneath it to the one place where he can get me. Seems like a terrible idea. Yeah. I don't know if it's worst plan material because I do have a suggestion, but yeah, it was a good scene, a good bit. I think like that's the CGI. I don't know if we want to touch that here. Like, it's good enough.
Yep.
Not a huge budget.
Jeg uenig.
Yeah, I think that's agreeing with the point that's being made. That right, okay. When he calls somebody Ernie, yeah, the CGI is good. You can kind of see the lines a little bit if you're looking properly. But the first time when it comes out and they beam the highlights on the one turns to stone in the beginning, you're like, oh, okay. Well, actually, they've got a bit of technical.
See, I found it better when it was not with night vision. With night vision, it looked a lot more just smooth and a bit crap compared to when you just a normal night.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was easier for them to make it that way. Why they did it? Because night vision always I don't like it as a.
Hallo. Jeg liker Kløvermark 1 million ganger bedre enn dette. Jeg kunne I det minste se og forstå hva som foregikk.
Right, okay. I think is that your last high point, Andy? Or have you got another one?
Like that whole thing is like that last kind of scene is like I think just visually stunning with all like the big troll, tiny hands, and this one-shot bazooka. Boom.
Yeah.
Light bazooka, whatever it is.
Jeg uenig.
Light bazooka, yeah, it's like his torch thing. And yeah, I think we've touched on my other high points, which was the bear crime scene that they had, where they, oh yeah, he definitely hides his food under the bridge. It's like if you know it's a troll, but yeah. And then the guy running off, and then like I loved his metal outfit that's behind Chris on the bit. And just the way the troll tries to eat him was funny. It made me laugh. That's me for high points. I think that could be us. So we'll move on to point 3. On to the low points.
Hallo.
Hallo.
Det ingen høydepunkter I denne filmen. Dumme Trollhunter-film. Verste filmen vi noen gang har gjort. Denne filmen som et skitt ble hekseprosjekt. De trenger å få et bedre budsjett og ikke egentlig på sjekking et kamera.
Camera. I think the fact that it's not in English. And I don't know. See,
Jeg hater subtiler. Hvorfor kan ikke folk bare snakke engelsk?
I do like films that usually have the shaky camera.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Nicola hates it because it makes her feel sick.
Yeah, people seem to complain.
Right, I'm going to start talking now. It's
Oh,
hard.
right. Now that we're on low points, we're going to be really popular in Norway this week, I feel. Or hopefully.
Just so everybody knows, everything I've been saying, I did say I put so much effort into this.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down all my highs, my lows, and all my entire script in Norwegian. Every single thing I've been saying is legitimately comments.
It's about
So if you want to know what I've been saying, you have to understand Norwegian.
Very good. You could do play the podcast into something that can translate when someone's speaking.
Yep,
and
it'll work perfectly.
There we go. I might do that later on.
So I'm not going to tell you what my high points are, but I'll translate for everything else I say now.
Right.
So my low point was, this is just a shit version of the Blair Witch Project with shaky cameras and night vision.
There was one point very much Blair Witch Project.
And I hate subtitles. Fucking hate subtitles.
I will apologise for it, because like I said, the last time I seen it, it was in English dubbed. And that's why I picked it, because I thought English dubbed.
And all the way through the film, all I kept thinking was this.
Jævla nuter på broen I en bøttehjelm og veldig lite rustning 100% den verste planen jeg noen gang har sett. Jævla idiot.
Okay.
I'm an idiot or something.
On the subtitle, when I watched this last time, it was dubbed, and it was dubbed horrendously. So I actually wanted subtitles this time, and I think I liked it better, the subtitled version than the dubbed.
You don't actually speak that much, so you don't have to they're not rattling off like a long phrase of sayings. It's just like quick question, wait, and it's an answer.
Like the breakfast scene is the one probably has the most conversation, but they're usually running around outside, just kind of running away and be like, "There's no trolls. There is a troll." That seems to be what it is. Anyway,
as I said, it's just like the subtitles were just so shit in my last comment there. It's just like I don't know if that's what they're actually saying, but they were shit. If that's genuinely what they were saying, this is the worst written film I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Oh no, we need to rub ourselves in troll snot. Oh no.
The on Amazon Prime, when I watched it, I was like, okay, I'll watch. And then before the film even starts, it pops up, turn subtitles on. I'm like, yes, please.
I did that as well.
What that involves is Amazon puts over the top of the subtitles. So the subtitles are on the film. It puts over it who's speaking. So for like the first scene of the film, it just popped up the person's name covering what they were saying. So I had to go back to the beginning.
Yep.
So I could work out what was actually happening.
That's exactly what happened to me.
That's a low point for Amazon. Anyway, low points. The first thing I have is, right, okay, they think the hunter guy is hunting a bear and killed the bear. And then they stalk him cross country. This is like, why? Why are you following? This guy is quite clearly leaving the area, so you don't have to worry about him anymore, or what his story is, or what he's up to. He's leaving, and they just follow him on a ferry. They follow him down a road. They follow him to another campsite. They live outside. They don't even try and speak to him a second time. They just hang around and just follow him around. It's
That's
like,
literally my first high point, is the fact that for 20 minutes they're just stalking this random guy around Norway who they think kills bears and could probably, I don't know, that make them disappear.
Exactly, yeah, follow out into the wilderness and not come back. Yeah. And then my second low point is just the goo on their car when it gets flipped by the first troll that we meet. It just made me feel unwell. When they oh, there's goo in my car. Straight hand, straight in. Oh, there's goo on it. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's what they do with the alien that freaks me out as well. There's always like bits dripping a bit and you pick it up and it's like all gloopy.
Yeah, if I don't know what something is, I'm not sticking my hand straight into it. Like, oh, what is this disgusting thing?
Hvorfor tror alle plutselig at troll ekte? Det virker som et litt stort sprang fra bjørn. Jeg vet at vi kan dekke oss selv I trollsnør.
Troll snot looks like semen.
Yeah.
Right.
Something like that, yeah. It does, I guess.
My next one's the troll lair. Like, the cameraman was fine. And he didn't freak out or anything. Then all of a sudden, he's like constantly asking for the troll stank, and then like starts whispering, "Oh, I need to get out of here." Then he goes, "I'm Christian," and then that's when all the buggers wake up and kill him.
Yeah.
Trolljeger en stor haug med dritt.
The troll does a massive fart.
Was that a high point? I feel like that might be the high point. You missed it. No, that's absolutely nailed on for me when it happened. It's a worst plan nominee. The trolls are coming back into their cave that we have found our way into. Let's go hide in a corner of this cave that we can't get out of. We'll be fine. Was a terrible idea. And then, yeah, the guy absolutely has a flaky because the whole time, despite it'd be like one of two things the guy asked him at the beginning. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not a Christian. I'll be fine." It's like specifically this expert on trolls asked if you were Christian. It must be important. So yeah, just
I did like it when they get the new camera person and just like, "Is Muslim okay?" We'll find out.
Yeah, I did like that. That was a funny bit, an actual humorous bit in the film. I only actually have one more low point, and it's right at the very end of the film. So if anyone else...
Mine too, actually. It's like after the Jotner is if they got caught by the TSS, and how does the tapes get out?
Did the lorry driver maybe get them? I thought the lorry might have been significant, or did he get hit by the lorry? I couldn't work out.
That's what I was kind of thinking, because they did a big like horn, and then that was it.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess maybe somebody at the TSS was like, "I've got these tapes. I'm sick of working here. I'm not getting the holidays. I'm going to release these." Might have been it. But my last low point is literally just before that. Hans goes to get the big one, and he says to them, like, "Go that way to the highway." Also, I still don't understand why did they have to give Thomas rabies? I don't know what was the point of him. Like, he didn't have to be hurt the whole time. I did nothing to the film that he was injured. I don't know why he had rabies.
I thought they were going to try and turn him into a troll. I thought they were going to do that thing.
I was getting severe District 9 flashbacks at that point. Like, did he turn into a troll in this? I couldn't remember what happened. But yeah, so he goes off to fight the big one. He's like, "Oh, the highway's that way." So they stay. They watch him kill the big troll, and then run off. At that point, I'd be thinking, "Oh, the one guy who is our best bet for survival in this world is over there. We should stick with him. He's been fine this entire time. Why did they select at that point to leave?" And then when the TSS arrive, they're not going to kill their dude, I don't think. The one guy who can kill trolls. At that point, I'd be like, "All right, we'll just hang with Hans, and he'll look after us." No, they run and end up getting killed by the TSS and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it just confused me then why, like, okay, the highway's that way because I might die fighting this troll. He doesn't, and then they leave anyway. It just confused me at the end of the film. It's one of them kind of ambiguous sort of endings that didn't really work for me.
Oh, that's just like a random point I've just thought of now. When a professional tells you to do something, don't do the exact opposite. In fact, you know what, that's my model from now. I've got something different now.
Don't do what the professional. And it seems to be a trend in every film ever as well. Is that the person who knows best tells one of our heroes what to do, so they do the opposite, and it causes problems for everyone.
Yeah.
Any further low point?
Shit, faen, forbanna.
There was no swearing. There was one swear.
Shit, fuck.
All right, it was just swearing. I see. Okay. Right. Speaking of swearing, on to stats. Point 4 on the podcast. I kept track of all the usual ones. There were 4 shits. 3 were subtitled, and 1, I think one of them said shit, but it didn't come up with a subtitle.
Jeg hater subtitler. Hvorfor kan ikke folk bare snakke engelsk?
I hate subtitles.
So, like I said, the word subtitle. Yeah, so I think there was maybe a 4th one. No F-bombs. 2 explosions, both were trolls exploding. And our death quota is 4 trolls. The 2 German tourists that disappeared because they were quite clearly killed off. And then Kalle, the cameraman guy, definitely dies. He gets eaten.
Yeah.
So at the end, who dies? Because Thomas and Joanna never get found ever again. So I'm assuming they're dead.
Yeah.
Do you think they killed the other camera woman? Think she's a goner?
Probably.
Jeg uenig.
Yeah, Ernie as well. And then there's this random guy, like seismologist or wasn't they find it?
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
Yeah. Oh, extra person. Does he get bumped off as well?
But I don't think he's seen again after the car gets flipped. So maybe he died in there.
Maybe. So I think it's maybe 4, and then I don't know who else needs to be killed. Hans, he might have been killed.
Oh, he lived. He walked away.
Okay. So at least another 4 deaths I counted at the end in terms of deaths. Quotas. Dead animal, plenty. Bears, cattle, sheep. Lots of dead animals, trolls if you want to count them. And cows, obviously, because there was dead cattle. Goats, yes. We had the goat on the bridge. So hit some of them.
Uenig.
That was Ernie, the goat. Yeah. Peeing, yes. 3 minutes into the film, Thomas has to piss on the side of the road, and then we find troll piss later on as well. So yes, there was peeing. No pedos, no devils, no KKK, and there were 7 trolls, is what I counted in the film.
That's a good job.
did you match?
I was going about inside that cave. There's hundreds of them.
4.
There's only 4.
Well, I only ever saw 4, and then they killed 1, and the other 3 were there at the very end. You know, I don't know if you watched the credits this time.
I didn't know.
Det trehodet i trollet ser ut som hvert av Chris' barn.
The trio of trolls, something about Chris.
The 3-headed trolls I just imagined to be Chris's siblings.
Okay. With their protuberances to attack their mate.
Det trehodet
What was
i
the bit at the end of
trollet ser ut
credits?
som hvert av Chris' barn.
So the entire credits plays with that song that would play at the end, the kind of the loud song. Then it was a different song.
And
And
what
then
a good bit of the film.
at the end is was it in the Hall of the Mountain King? The that plays, and then as that finishes, the 3 trolls from the inside the cave all go rah at the screen at the very end.
I'm gonna go back and watch that then.
Literally the last second of the whole thing is these trolls jumping at the screen. Did they say the thing? Did they say Trollhunter or the Norwegian version of Trollhunter at any point?
Yes.
No.
Jeg
They
er
did not.
uenig.
Nope, they say troll hunting at one point. But other than that, it's never troll hunter. They say trolls about a million times. I was not counting that.
Shit,
Uh-huh.
faen.
they say hunting and hunter quite a lot. But yeah, troll hunter is not actually ever uttered. I have a nomination. I don't know if Andy has got the Norwegian for it, but do you have a most pornographic scene, Andy? That's what you mean.
Jeg vil omstøpe alle og sørge for at de alle kan snakke engelsk. Chris Pratt, Ween Diesel, Stallen Skarsgård.
The Stellan Skarsgård was in there. I
heard that. And Chris.
That's Stellan Skarsgård, right?
Everybody's voice just sounded like Stalin Skarsgård.
Right.
That's pornographic, is it? He was in June, of course. I thought you were going for definitely the full Norwegian breakfast. I thought that would be your most pornographic.
Yep.
He had a good plate of food, and including mystery meats in the middle, whatever it was.
Yeah, troll and trolls, like equivalent was said 80
To be
times.
fair.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
I think I was meant to play this one.
Jeg vil omstøpe alle og sørge for at de alle kan snakke engelsk. Chris Pratt.
No, it's not. It's the wrong one.
Chris Pratt there. This listing.
It's the wrong one.
Hold on, come to that. Chris Pratt will come up later on. That was that your only stat, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to count trolls, but I thought there was more than 4 inside the tunnel, so I stopped counting.
Like 4 came in kind of one after another on the line, and then they say they killed one off, and there was 3 left that I saw. I think if there's any more than that, that would be kind of proper overkill with the trolls,
Yeah.
I think. On to the quiz then. I have got a not very long quiz here at all. I don't have a tiebreaker, so this could be a draw. Andy. Sorry, I thought you had something to say. Normally say that when you're... Anyway, right, first question, we'll start with Chris, since Andy's present. Chris, first question in the 10 Point Podcast quiz. Where are the documentary crew from? I don't necessarily mean the place. Who do they represent?
Rivalda College.
Boulder College is correct. Andy, can you complete the sign that is shown in the film and also mentioned in the film? No trespassing, blank area. Fill in the blank for me.
In English.
Jeg er uenig. Det var dritt.
It's not none of
I
these.
think Andrew's checked out.
It was.
What did it say then? Can you translate for me? My Norwegian's not great.
Det var dritt.
No, it wasn't. It was no trespassing, blasting area is what the sign
That's what I
said.
said.
That's not what you said.
That's it. When you Google this back, you'll be.
I will look a fool, will I? Right, okay.
You will. All the Norway fans are like, kick it off now. I've got support here.
Second question for Chris. What company is written on the van that delivers the dead bear?
It's something's Polish paint. I'm going to say Peter.
Yeah, I'll give you it. It's Piotr. I guess
Piotr, right.
Piotr's Polish paint service, which at first I was like, what's a Polish paint? And then I realized, oh, it's from Poland. It's Polish paint. Andy, second question for you. I need to keep this. I need to get someone right to stay in the quiz here. When is Hans supposed to kill a troll? As in, when does he do his job? At what point is he summoned to go be a troll hunter?
EM. Hvorfor tror alle plutselig at troll er ekte? Det virker som et litt stort sprang fra bjørn. Jeg vet at vi kan dekke oss selv i trollsnørr.
It could be.
It's got to be close, surely.
Some of the words were right in there, I think. I didn't heard the word troll. Do you ever get it in English, or was it the translate section of that?
I don't know the English for it. Whatever your answer is be the English.
All right. It's whenever a troll leaves its territory is when he is supposed to catch it.
That's what I said.
That's what you said. Okay.
was
It's
area.
funny how this
Territory,
film
sorry.
broke him, but he watched fucking Imaginarium fine, and he watched
The room.
The Room fine.
Is it English?
But so was this in one place.
Right. Last question each. I think the quiz is essentially over. But Chris, what
No.
does
I got area. Territory and area is like the same word.
If Chris says wrong and yours right, it's a draw. Well, I doubt it. Chris, what does TSS stand for?
Oh shit. I want to say Troll Secret Service.
Almost. It's Troll Security Service. That's what it stands for. I did find it funny that it's called the TSS, and then it immediately holds up a form that says TST. So I guess service begins with a T in Norwegian. But yeah, that's so. Andy, possibly to tie the quiz here, I don't know. What do trolls like to gnaw on?
Hallo.
Hello.
EM. Fite. Tvatt. Shit. Faen. Forbanna.
Incorrect. They like to gnaw on car tires, is what they like to do.
Ah.
So
You sure it's not twats?
I don't believe so. It was not mentioned in the film. It was not depicted. So
I
Chris,
can't disprove that theory.
Chris wins in a landslide. Unlucky that he nearly got every question right in the quiz. I think Chris's lead is now growing in the season. On to point 6, movies within movies. A mixture for me. Immediately Blair Witch Project, as soon as it's a found footage film, because that was the originator, and a couple of scenes late on when they kind of, the ones in the cave are very Blair Witch Project. Also Cloverfield, because I love that film, and also Big Monster with a shaky camera. It's kind of a different aspect. I've got Bowling for Columbine.
1 million ganger bedre enn dette. Jeg kunne I det minste se og forstå hva som foregikk.
That was agreeing that Cloverfield is a better film.
Ah, okay, good. So I would say that for definite. Bowling for Columbine, because they mentioned Michael Moore, and that was like his Oscar-winning documentary where he goes and interviews people. Deliverance, that was the pig farmers, pig farmers reference. Jurassic Park, as in leaving the goat out for the monster to come and eat. Maybe think of Jurassic Park. I've got the Thor movies because they mentioned Jotunheim, and anytime I hear Jotunheim, I always think of Thor. And then apparently, Jaws. At one point, when they're running away from one of the the trolls at the beginning, Joanna screams in the same sort of way that the first girl, when she gets eaten in Jaws, her scream is identical to the scream in Jaws, apparently. Allegedly, intentionally, to sound like that. But I did not pick up on that. The internet told me that. And Never Not Good. Debatable, but I do love a found footage film. I like a film where they pretend, oh, we found this documentary, we found this on a camera, and we have not edited it. I like that sort of stuff. It makes me, and Cloverfield's my favourite version of that.
This will be unpopular with like forest activists and stuff like that, but I find the sound of a lot of trees getting snapped quite satisfying.
Yeah, a big tree going crack is it's a nice sound. Yeah. And Chris, an easy one for you, I would imagine. Did you find anybody we've had before?
Nope. I actually went through every cast member for a change.
There's only about 10 people in it, yeah. Not one person seems to have like been anything outside of Norway. They're all very, very Norwegian.
And I was half expecting, I don't know, like Frank Welker to make an appearance like he does in everything else.
To be a troll, yeah.
But nope, nobody. As for us, I made myself Kala, the camera guy, because I hate being on camera. Like, even this I don't like doing. I saw Bruce as a presenter, Thomas, and Andy is Hans, the anti-hero.
I think this is one of the most nailed on. I think that's exactly what I had, probably for the same reasons. Yeah, I think Andy's definitely the surly sort of man out in the woods who knows what he's doing, while the rest of us just kind of put a brave face on. Andy, have you recast anyone?
Jeg vil omstøpe alle og sørge for at de alle kan snakke engelsk. Chris Pratt, Vin Diesel, Stallen Skarsgård bare for å starte.
I missed Vin Diesel the last time. I didn't hear that. So
basically, any English-speaking actor would be better in this film. And I got Chris Pratt, Vin Diesel, and Alan Skarsgård.
Well, it's funny you said that. They've got the rights for it in America. They're apparently going to do a remake.
Yeah, I've read that as well. Which I don't know. So who's who then? Stellan Skarsgård has to be the Trollhunter, really. Like who else?
Yep.
So it's Chris Pratt, Thomas. And then where's Vin Diesel? Is he one of the trolls?
Well, I can see. I think Diesel will be the camera guy.
Vin Diesel with the trolls.
I don't think Vin Diesel would take the camera
Just
guy.
running along going, I am troll.
What a film that would be. See, I told you I put a lot of effort. I wrote all this down in Norwegian and then Englished it over. Made it talk over.
Yeah, I mean, you've worked really hard on the podcast this week. We'll stick with Andy
is
then.
what I did rather than reading the film.
Rather than reading the film. Andy's trigger warning, 0.7 on the podcast. I believe he's primed for this one already. So Andy, 0.7. What is your trigger warning?
Min triggeradvarsel er at utenlandske filmer har en plass på UK Netflix.
Something about Netflix.
Basically, do foreign films belong on Netflix? Because it annoys the fuck out of me when I say, "Ooh, look at that that looks a banger," and it's like, wait there, those lips don't slightly add up a bit, and I click on it, and it's like German, and I was like, yeah, fuckers.
It's very clicky.
And then it's like, oh, it's annoying as fuck, and it's like loads of amazing epic Japanese sci-fi films out. It's like, fuck me, as opposed to this trailer looks amazing, but they show you the trailers and they don't show you the lips. It's people talking in English, and then suddenly it's like the very last scene, he gives a little telltale sign away. So I'm just saying Netflix need to get that shit off of fucking English Netflix.
It's a throwback to anyone who's listened to the podcast for a while now. But yeah, the legendary Pinocchio that Chris made popular, where I watched the trailer and it's in Italian but dubbed into English, and not one person's face is facing the camera the entire trailer.
Netflix have got this down. They need to put like a poster just saying "not fucking English" right along the top before you go to like even click on it, because I'm sure they get click things like before you even think on it. It's like, oh look, people are interested.
Yeah,
now, don't get me wrong, I do like Squid Game, so I don't hate all foreign language shit. Yeah. Just 99.9% of it.
The difference with Squid Game is, I bet you kind of saw Squid Game being promoted at the top and being like, "Did you heard about it before you watched it, or did you just right?" Because
that big.
I think it was literally the day it came out. I was like, "What the fuck is Squid Games?" I looked at it, I was like, "Hey, there, that trailer looks pretty cool." And I was like, "Oh wait, they're Korean." And then I was like, I think I left it with 3 or 4 hours. I was like, fuck it.
Give it a go.
The story just got me. I was like, what is gonna happen? And then I started watching it, and then the lips were actually all right. So I was like, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah. So
I didn't have to read it, Chris.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it is the. I don't know how they do it, how they should do it, but yeah, it does. It's a bit of a.
Just put a big fucking sign saying "Not English," you bell end.
German with English subtitles or dubbing, whatever would be a good way to do it. Yes, I can't argue with trigger warning. It does annoy me because I've done it at least double figure amount of times.
Like Money Heist, I want to watch that shit, but that's in fucking Japanese as well.
It's Spanish. I've started watching that. We've got 1 episode in.
Is it worth my time and effort, Chris, or are you not sure yet?
I need to get further into it. Sean seems to love it.
And Sean says it's amazing.
Okay.
And they just got a new season, I think.
Yeah.
But even he fell in the same trap. He was so smashed, he started watching it, and then only when he was sober did he realise that it's not in English.
I'm assuming it was dubbed.
Watch things. We should watch this.
It was dubbed, so he was too far in. So he decided to just carry on watching it because he really enjoyed the 4 episodes he watched when he was smashed.
I mean, I did have to ask because Sean could be smashed enough that he wouldn't realise it was subtitled and that wasn't understanding what anyone was saying. Right, cracking on. We're going to point 8. I've no idea how long this podcast has been going. Point 8, nominations for the 10-Point Podcast Awards at the end of the season. Not at this point, Andy either shouts out that he wants to go last or he wants to go first.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
EM.
I've lost the button. Which one is it?
Jævla nuter på broen I en bøttehjelm og veldig lite rustning er 100% den verste planen jeg noen gang har sett. Jævla idiot.
I'm sure you said that before.
I did, I used a bit of it. Basically, the worst plan is the bell end that goes to the bridge with his little fucking suit and just gets absolutely fucking nailed by a troll. What a stupid plan that was.
That worked though. What he did, he got his ass kicked, but he did what he intended to do with his little suit.
Nope. And then massive syringe was my inanimate object. That was the best thing. However, it raised a lot of questions on who the fuck made a massive syringe? Because I don't think he made it. But like, where would you go to get a massive syringe without raising questions? Like
his vet lady friend.
Yeah, either the vet, yeah, maybe her.
Right.
But yeah, I've got full syringe is best animal object by a country mile. It's incredible.
It's so fucking big.
Yeah, it's like it's so.
He's not gonna sneak up to somebody with that because it's like.
Yeah, when Thomas is playing with it, it's a massive grin on his face, and he's like, he's playing with it. I'm like, yep, nailed on, best animal object. Any other?
This one works.
EM.
Nope. I've overwritten some of them. Let's play this
Det
one again.
trehodet i trollet ser ut som hvert av Chris' barn.
Basically, the trolls. The design of trolls, I don't think we've got a category for it. However, each one of them was very unique. Like I said, the three-headed ones that look like Chris's kids. And then you had the other set as well.
Guys,
It's just like,
yeah.
yeah. Like, they had some imagination.
Yeah, and I'm assuming all of them correspond to some kind of troll that's maybe in some sort of Norwegian literature, as in maybe one area this kind of troll and the paintings or whatever look like that. So, but yeah, they do have a good mix. There's like, because he lists, there's like, must be at least 7 or 8 different kinds. And we do see, I don't know, 5 different kinds in the film. Yeah, they all do have a unique look about them. Any others, Andy?
Filmen er for lang. Hvorfor er det 1 time og 40 minutter? Det er så mye å lengte etter denne typen film.
The actual scenery of this film was pretty good. I have to try and remember my point there. You mentioned like, the thing like going through Norway and all that.
Yeah.
It's pretty good from that point of view. However, I've watched a lot of documentaries. It's kind of going back to a negative point again. I've watched a lot of In Search for Bigfoot and like random shit like this. Those are all 1,000 times better than this.
Right, okay.
But this does have better scenery, so
Right.
I'll give it some scenery.
It does look good. Norway, I think, is definitely a high point from the film. Chris, have you got any nominations?
My worst plan was the line about your faith, and which eventually got himself killed. You could have just said, "Yeah, I'm a Christian," and he goes, "Well, you can't come with us."
Yeah.
It would have saved his life.
Just thinking, if I do that, I need to go all the way back home again. Like we've got so far following this guy. I might as well I'm here now. I might as well go with it.
I agree with the best visual effects is the trolls. In particular, I've gone for the Jotner because it looked awesome. The big one.
I like the hairy guys in the cave. I don't know. They had a certain charisma.
I don't know. They just looked a bit weird.
Yeah, I like them.
I agree with best set is Norway.
Norway.
My best quote is, "If you run into a bunch of inbred pig farmers, your ass is first." My best actor is Otto Jespersen.
Yes.
Hans.
Yeah, definitely. He has a certain energy that I really enjoyed. He was really good. And in fact, he's like not actually a proper actor. He's a comedian. Made it good for me as well. Yeah, I don't have a best quote because I've literally used my best quote as my moral of the story, which has not come up yet. So, note to myself for the pointies. That's my nomination.
Right.
My other nominations, say Otto Jespersen, yes. Best fashion item, which I don't know if I've ever used this award or not. That metal suit, I love these little kind of tin can kind of knight.
That's not work.
His soul went to bite his head off.
His fucking leg looked like it fucking snapped in about 1,000,000 places.
I thought that. The way he's lying, his legs like bent up the way.
I still like the suit. It was a good fashion item. Might not be practical then. Best fight is that bridge fight with him and the troll. I loved it. I love a fight that makes me laugh. So that one really made me laugh. Worst twist. Trolls exist is kind of portrayed as a twist in this film, as in the characters in the film react, "Oh my god," and then like the film is called Trollhunter and there's a troll on the poster and all that sort of stuff again. So yeah, it's a bad twist. And then the syringe. Worst plan is hiding in the cave. Because I think they came in a different entrance, didn't they? Or were they making their way back out again?
They were making their way back out the same way that they came in.
Because I feel like them running to the back of the cave and hiding in an even smaller hole in the corner was a terrible plan. But the other ones might be as bad. But I've got a question. Best bell end. Does Hans count as the best bell end? He's not the villain, but he's quite clearly a bell end in this film and doesn't want these people around. Like he's not a villain per se, but I thought I'd put his name forward.
He was just doing his job.
He was. Okay, he doesn't qualify, but I thought he was quite funny.
The trolls are the biggest bell ends for fucking leaving their zone.
Yeah, and being really stupid, which was one of the
when I first watched this, I now can't look at a pylon without thinking, I wonder if there's a big troll around here somewhere.
Trees that have fallen down. On to the moral of the story then, point 9 on the podcast. What lessons we thought the film has taught us. I'll go first so that I can tie into the previous one. So yeah, it's my best quote as well. But my moral of the story: why problem make when you know problem have you don't want to make? Why problem make when you know problem have you don't want to make? That's what the Polish guy says when he brings the beer. That's my moral of the story.
That went to my original one of in Poland they don't ask why, they just do.
yeah.
But if a professional tells you to do something, you do it. You don't ignore them. is probably a better moral.
Listen for every film. And Andy, what's your moral of the story, did I ask?
Jeg vil omstøpe alle og sørge for at de alle kan snakke engelsk. Chris Pratt, Vin Diesel.
Ah, it's the same one. It carries
I
on.
had Liam Neeson that time. It's like different names every time.
Basically, the moral of the story is Chris can't follow simple rules.
Ah, yes.
Or I forget, we've been doing this for what, 2 years now. And you
Only
probably
one rule.
followed that rule when I was drunk. You
Yeah.
probably haven't followed your own rules during the thing either.
There was no other rules.
That was pretty much it, yeah. I think it was we don't do the same film again until a predetermined point, and don't pick a foreign one.
Don't
Anyway,
do foreign language films.
morals of the story sorted. On to the 10-point rating. On the 10th point, Chris, you selected, so you go first.
Yeah, I've got this. This is one of my guilty pleasure movies. I watched it a few years ago. I've seen it with the English subtitles. I've seen it English dubbed, and I know there's not much happening for a little while. There's a lot of driving around, but when the pace picks up and you see the first troll, and then everything's kind of snowballs into like the big giant troll, which I think was awesome. It's a guilty pleasure for me. I really like this film, and I'm giving it a 7.
7 from Chris. Hope you don't mind, Andy, but I put you to go last, so I will go next. I felt like Andy might have a sensational score coming. So I have no notes written down for why I've given the score, so this is just off the top of my head. It's fine. It's well, an film is well made. Like, clearly didn't have a large budget. It was 2 million compared to some of the 100 millions that we've done on here. And it's well made. It does the kind of genre that it's going for really well, and all that sort of stuff. But it's just not particularly interesting. It's kind of fun, and then the fact that it doesn't really go anywhere, and the end of the film's a bit kind of not that great either. It says I've landed smack dab in the middle with a 5. I think if I'd watched the dubbed one, I didn't like it. I'd liked it more subtitled, so probably been less as a dubbed. The subtitles and actually having them speak properly is a bang smack dab in the middle. A 5 out of 10 for me. Andy, what's your score?
Hopefully my Norwegian translator doesn't say Chris Pratt again.
Chris Pratt, Vin Diesel.
Siden Skish brøt de opprinnelige reglene for 10-point podcast, burde denne filmen ikke engang kunne få en poengsum, men den får en 1. 1.
Basically, I shouldn't even give this a rating because it should, in theory, be completely disqualified, and that's what I'm kind of going for the votes. However, if you're forcing me to put a number on it, it's a 1.
It's a 1.
However, I'm still satisfied with a disqualification.
No,
It's not a competition.
I would say it is still a film, and we have featured.
So you're telling me we can't watch that award-winning Korean or Japanese film Parasite, which is supposed to be really, really good because it's fun.
Jeg uenig.
Are you Ernie?
Correct.
Is that what that means? Correct.
Even if it's dubbed in English, we can't watch it.
Jeg uenig.
Correct.
The whole point of a fucking podcast, a movie podcast, is to pick random movies.
We'll do a spin-off, Chris, where we do the foreign ones.
Forbanna.
I think that was all the swears again. My quick maths with Andy's 1 catered in. Actually, if you wanted to give it nothing, Andy, it would still be officially a 4 because your point doesn't actually change what the official rating is. So yeah.
No, I want a disqualification so nobody's points count.
No, it's a 4 out of 10, which is better than some. We've had at least 10 films that have scored worse
I don't
than
know.
that.
This film was utter garbage. It was shit. It conned me out of £5. It almost conned me out of some more fucking money. What a fucking pile of shit.
We'll see if it cons me money if I forget to cancel my Shudder.
I did it instantly. I literally signed up to it and went and cancelled it. So I've got it for another 6 days.
Yeah, I'm like, there's a few things on here I quite like. It's like, no, I must have never cancelled it. Right, we haven't nailed Chrissy's theme down yet.
Monsters.
Andy says monsters. And yeah, it's my third guess was monsters.
I've actually called they mostly come out at night, mostly.
Mostly. I had humanoids was one of my guesses because I wasn't sure if Howard the Duck was necessarily a monster, but he has like
it was well, I thought when I was thinking back, District 9 kind of fucks it up because the prawns weren't really monsters, they were aliens, but the humans were monsters because they were just dicks. Then you've got I've got it all listed here. Then you've got
our main man, Vicus, is a monster because he's not an alien, he's a human.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
My original idea before I just came out with monsters, my original idea was like monsters or like aliens were like the secondary main character in a film, or the film was about them.
Like a human and a
Like District 9 was about the
Yeah.
prawns, Howard the Duck was about a duck, this was about trolls, and Silent Hill was about ghosties.
Yeah.
I linked this one and District 9 because of the shaky camera, because District 9 is also documentary
Oh, yeah.
style. And I was like, has he picked all like that? And I was like, no, Howard the Duck definitely wasn't.
No,
And
like, I was going to pick Jaws as well. It was going to be a monster shark. And then when you did Street Fighter, Blanca worked because he became a monster.
before I forget, this actually fits my category, I think. So you can
Oh.
add.
Shit films.
I don't think so. I think you liked one of the ones I picked. I think you liked. Was it Jaws you liked? There was something I picked you liked this season. So yeah. So
yeah,
Neil,
that's it. You finally got my theme.
so it's just my one remaining then, which is a nice tie-in because it's my pick next time on the podcast. We've not had comedy in a while, the best I can remember. I think it's been a while
God.
since we've had an actual.
And we still don't.
So so I had two options, and I thought this was quite a modern film, so I'll go for the slightly older out of the two that I had. And it's the 90s. It's a 90s comedy. We all like 1990s comedy.
5?
It's not 1995, unfortunately. 1999. It's not another bad year for comedies either. It's a difficult one for Chris because there's at least, I don't know, maybe half a dozen people we've done before involved, including the writer and creator, as it is a Mike Judge film, the guy who Beavis and Butthead. It's the film Office Space,
Oh, yeah.
which we can get on Disney Plus. By the way, I have checked; it is on Disney Plus. As
I'm
of
sure I've
right
got
now.
that on DVD somewhere.
I think I maybe do as well, but it's on Disney anyway. So yeah, Office Space, Mike Judge's 1999 comedy. I think it's just a comedy, no other blah blah blahs. Main star being Ron Livingston, who we have done before. I'll leave that for Chris to find when we did him before. So that's what's up next. I've no idea how long this podcast has gone. We talked a lot about June at the beginning. So you all have 7 days to go on Disney Plus or elsewhere and find Office Space. And we'll see you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.